The only comments I really toss out and block are the ones where they talk about physical things, right? I didn't know you were that fat, or, like things like that, where I'm just like, shut up. I feel like if you're feeling lousy, like, don't go on social media because confrontational people can, like, really ruin a day.
So we talked about a little bit of our thick skin, and we're talking about embracing more of our age or whatever. And you're on social media.
Yeah.
I would say, when I say a lot, I mean you make a fair amount of content. You're out
Yes.
there a lot, and it doesn't seem like you're not comfortable in front of the camera because you're kind of always in your videos. How much pressure do you put on yourself in how you look? Like, are you like worried, like, oh, I got to get fixed up, I'm going to be on camera, or like, oh, I don't look good
Mhm.
today, I'm not going to do. Does a lot of that happen with you or no? You know how
I
people, I mean, a
mean,
lot of us struggle with,
totally.
we hate the way we look. We
Hmm.
don't want to be on camera. A lot of people don't want to be at the front of the camera.
Yeah.
How much do you struggle with that, honestly?
Honestly, in my stories, I will show up with no makeup, just like out in the wild doing whatever. Because I had a friend, I think she just turned 50 last year, and she was like, you know what? Like, I want people to see what an actual aging person looks like. Not like geriatric or anything, but just like, I think that there's not enough role models of people who will show you what their skin actually looks like. As a woman, I don't know about men. I don't think that men
It's a
usually.
little different, but I think a lot of guys struggled too.
Yeah. So in my stories, I usually will show up without makeup. But if I'm doing a reel, I don't throw a filter on. I'll just put makeup on, if that makes sense.
Do you care when you get comments, or do you get comments about just your physical thing?
I don't.
And would that bother you or no? Are you pretty,
Um, I guess it depends on the comment.
yeah?
But I'm more of like a delete block kind of person. Like if something makes me feel uncomfortable or if people are being rude, I don't have a problem like deleting and blocking.
Ooh, that, so yeah, tell me more about this strategy. Social media strategy for bad comments. I struggle with this. Like, I don't know
You
whether I
do?
want to, no matter how bad you are, keep it
Mm,
there, let everybody see it, because I'm afraid that if I try to curate too much, I'm creating another job for me to do. I get a healthy amount of what I would consider troll comments, negative comments, or whatever. And I've
uh-huh,
always kind of leaned towards say what you want, but there are times to where I'm like, what's that line to where you'll delete it? And then I also struggle with when I have people on, guests on the podcast or whatever, and if they say certain things, do I delete those comments? Because I want my guests to feel like they're safe
sure,
here and they don't have to deal with the certain comments. But
sure.
I would say almost every guest that I've had, whatever content I put out, whether they're short form clips or whatever, or the long form, there's, you can bet there's going to be at least one comment where I struggle with, do I delete that or not? And
Hmm.
I have deleted some because I don't want my guests to focus on that.
The line for me when I delete or block is if somebody is assaulting my physical appearance. Like, I had a comment recently where a guy said, "Oh, you're just calling your followers like trashy people or something," because I wouldn't give out the location of this amazing hike that I went on in southern Utah. Because we had this problem, and I'm sure it's like this everywhere, but if you have really popular national parks in your area, they just get trashed.
Yep.
People want to, anyway. So we have travel influencers who go to the middle of nowhere and share locations, and then it gets really overrun and people don't take care, and they don't, anyway. So I had this comment from a guy saying, "Oh, you're saying your followers are trashy." And I left that comment up because I was like, I want people to know that I don't think that my followers are terrible people, but like, it's a problem that we need to address. And, luckily another follower came into the comment section and was like, "That's not what she's saying."
Right.
The only comments I really toss out and block are the ones where they talk about physical things, right? I didn't know you were that fat, or, like things like that, where I'm just like, shut up.
For me, I've discussed this before. a comment here, a comment there, saying just completely ridiculous things,
Hmm.
at least for me, is not that big of a deal. But it's a death by a thousand cuts,
Sure.
especially when you're on social media and you put as much content as you do, as I do. Some of our friends, put
Yeah.
out a lot of stuff. You see those little comments every single day.
Hmm.
And over time that accumulates. And I think we all have kind of a breaking point, or maybe we have an off day
Totally.
to where your
Totally.
defenses are just kind of down. Maybe you're self-conscious about something already.
Hmm.
And then that's where you kind of struggle and you're like, maybe this isn't the thing for me. Sharing as much.
Totally. Totally. I guess I'm lucky in that I don't have a ton of troll comments. I mean, I only have like 33,000 followers or something. I know our friend Amanda has a ton and she gets a ton of trolls, but I don't know. But it is like that. I feel like if you're feeling lousy, like don't go on social media because confrontational people can like really ruin a day.
I think that's where they get off on. Like,
Yes.
I think most of the troll type comments that you get are from people that they get their energy from doing just that.
Yeah.
Because if you follow any of those comments, like the people, and then you see what other comments they put on other videos, that's all that they do. The same thing everywhere else. And I
Yeah.
don't know sometimes if they realize that or not, but there's some people that even I know that I would consider acquaintances of mine that I've told before. I'm like, like everything out of your mouth is like negative, right?
Oh,
And they're like
yeah.
offended by it. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Yeah.
every like conversation that we're in, you throw out something just negative. You don't hear that or notice, and they get they're, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So sometimes they just don't know. But I do think there's a lot of people out there that they derive their power from being negative and having
Totally.
some effect in life. I think their problem is, I have no background in this. I'm just making this up in my head, but I think that they live a life to where they don't affect anything and they
Mm,
feel kind of weak, and where they get their power is online in the safety of their computer or their phone, and
yeah.
leaving comments knowing that they affected somebody. And it doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, but they could
Hmm.
affect somebody's life. I think
Yeah.
they like that.
Totally. And the thing that I always try to remember is that those people usually aren't putting out content. They're not putting themselves out there. They're just sitting in the cheap seats throwing peanuts. You can be mad about something, but like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't know. Cheap seats, mouth
Well, I get it.
breathers.